Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends up there at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here every day on this show and at YSN. As you can tell, we have a special guest joining us at the top of the show. We're going to continue our softball and baseball previews today as we go into Canfield for their head softball coach, Mike Kernan. Welcome back to the wonderful world of high school softball. Back to the area, Coach. We missed you. First, before we get started, this welcome back. How's it feel to be back in this area and coaching again?
Thank you. That's much appreciated. Thank you for having me, and I am very happy to be back.
All right, so here you are with Canfield, a new team. You're not in green anymore like you used to be. Now you're in that red, cardinal red. First question is what drew you to this job? What made you want to take over the Canfield softball team? What were some of the factors when deciding where you wanted to kind of land yourself and call home?
Timing, circumstances, uh, probably two important pieces. And the opportunity, is always in the back of my mind, what it would be like in a public school system. And after being at Ursuline for 20 years, and here I am, and I know Canfield has always been rich in talent, nice softball talent, and I am very fortunate to be the Canfield softball coach and be here with the talent we have, the team we had, and just the in general, the whole scenario is a nice setup for myself.
You've been able to have a lot of time with these girls now out in the winter scrimmages, the indoor scrimmages, and now here we go trying to get outside for the last couple of weeks of this off season before opening day. So I'm gonna have you run down your roster, kind of some of the players that you think are going to be really key for your success this year, and maybe some of the upcomers that are going to be a little bit new to the varsity level as well.
And I tell you what, that's a great situation I fell into is the talent and the roster on this team. Uh, we have great leadership in our seniors. It's been tough for me this whole off season trying to repeat all these seniors at hand, but I'm going to try. Their leadership is incredible. Their talent's great. We had great off season workouts in the winter. What's allowable by OSHA has been extended this year, and we took advantage of that. And the kids just responded tremendously. And I give a lot of credit to the leaders and seniors on this team. And uh, returning from last year would have been Gianna Panunzio, was a starter from last year's squad. Bella Kennedy, I think she was all AC player. Haley Freedy. We had Kara Spencer returning, Mackenzie Koenig, Hayden Merritt, Emma Campbell, and Taylor Morrison are the seniors and the leaders that are true asset to the team chemistry we have brewing right now. And I guess if you don't mention their ace number one pitcher from last year, who's a junior this year, Milena Toth, a starter from last year's squad at junior, Macy Kalina, and a sophomore this year, excellent athlete in Marina Koenig as well. If I started getting into the underclass that's showing promise here, that's probably too long of a list, but I'm still at awe. That's probably one of the biggest obstacles I have for myself is picking this senior varsity group. I continue to tell my JV coaches, you guys are going to have one heck of a team. I know that. Whatever is not on varsity and what's down at JV. But so there's a lot of young talent who's been working out with probably the three kids who've been working out with the varsity group from the younger group would be a freshman Leah Figueroa, freshman Jenna Treveri, uh, sophomore Sydney Lutz, and a junior Faith Morrill. But not naming everybody, there's just really a competitive scenario, fortunate scenario for myself in Canfield softball.
When talking about this team and the roster, I think everyone has to start with Melina Toth inside the circle. She sets the tone for you guys. She has for the last 2 years in the circle for you guys. You've had the chance to work with her for a little bit. What have you noticed from her? What kind of things do you think that she's going to bring even better this year? Now she's an upperclassman going into her junior season.
I'm gonna lean on experience and leadership. she's a very strong individual, a great player to coach. Uh, you know, I think coachable is one word I left out for that whole group. I'm almost having too much fun with this whole group. It scares me. But coachable, they're all coachable too. But Milena Toth is very coachable for being as great of a pitcher as she is. Her and I are building an excellent relationship, and we're trying to, if I can help her grow more, we're going to do that. And she's open to it. And we're really, I think that's a great asset from her standpoint that she brings with our relationship and to the team. As good as she is in her maturity, she's still willing to grow, and she's not afraid to be a leader on this team as well.
We know it starts in the circle, but last year the offense at Canfield was also very potent. I know you lost a couple of those bats from graduation, but you also return a lot of really great swingers and really great offensive threats. What do you think this offense is going to look like? What do you think this lineup is going to look like this year for Canfield?
It's going to be it's going to be solid. I'll say that. Again, I have at least 15 kids to pick from. If I can't get them to score runs, then that's my fault. They have the potential. They're strong. They're athletic, and they have speed. So our lineup should be able to attack you from a few different angles. And, we just need to keep getting better and working hard, which these kids are doing. That's not even a question down their path. I mean, they're coming in and they want to work hard. What I really appreciated was we did have a scrimmage last night. We went down to Richmond Edison, which was incredible because they got that all turf field. I don't think I've ever saw kids when I said, "Hey, we're going to take off tomorrow." Speaking of working hard, ironically, but I said, "Hey, we're going to take off tomorrow." I think they were a little disappointed, and that's a good sign from a coaching standpoint.
I think they saw the weather report and saw that it would be a beautiful day for softball today to get out there and do some work.
Well, today was a good day, but there was a banquet at hand for some players. So, that's okay, though. We were able to make up for it with the Turf down south a little bit.
You brought up the handful of seniors that you do have, and I believe you have more seniors than any other team in the conference this year. So you're going to really lean on that leadership and that experience. How much do you think that's going to really pay dividends for you down the stretch that you have to so many leaders on your team?
That's a great question. Huge dividends. I could tell already the approach from these kids. They're willing to sacrifice for our team chemistry and to succeed at a high level. And, sometimes that unselfish piece, you don't see that really happen a lot, but I see the senior group, they're all in. I mean, and they're excited. And again, working hard, coachable, the great attitude piece, but they're going to add to the team chemistry that makes a difference. And again, from my standpoint, that's just good to see.
And Coach, let's talk about this conference a little bit. Obviously, it's your first year in the AAC, so you got to get used to it a little bit. But you look around and it's pitching. You got you guys, Tori Strines and Boardman, Natalie Davis will also pitch for them, and then you have, of course, Sydney Watts in Fitch. What do you look at when you see the AAC, and how much do you think this league is going to really be competitive this year?
I think it's going to be extremely competitive. I mean, I'm excited, about facing this type of competition. I mean, everybody wants to set their goals and win the AAC. That's our goal. It's going to be a tough battle. Probably happy to be an underdog, so to say, with the caliber of talent that's out there and the teams that are out there. But our team has talked about that a few times already, setting some goals and where do we want to be, and competing for the AAC. They're ready to go to those battles and try and make that happen. But we'll let that take its course. It's like the top conference in the, I want to call it like an SEC, one of those top college conferences. I mean, we have a great conference.
It's a smaller conference, which means you have plenty of opportunities to go outside of it and really beef up your schedule. Who are some teams that pop up outside of that AAC that you're excited to go up against and excited to test your team against?
We have North Canton Hoover, Massillon Jackson, Walsh Jesuit a couple times. I think they were ranked in maybe the top 50 in the country through Max Preps. Green, Field, Revere, Poland a couple times, champion. We're going down to Myrtle Beach, requesting to play the top competition down there. So, and then you have our league play, and it's going to be a brutal walk in competing each game and getting ready for each of those games. So our one, you have to compete to put yourself in, you have to put yourself in those positions to execute certain scenarios and get better with those. And, if you're not playing the best, you're not going to put yourself in those scenarios to compete at the highest level.
You also come into a year, the first year in a while, that Canfield's been Division II girls softball team instead of Division I. They moved down this year. You go from being one of the smallest Division I teams to one of the biggest Division II teams. What do you think about that, and how much that tournament is going to turn in your favor now that you're a little bit more towards your size of schools when you look at the bracket?
Well, I think we're set in a pretty good place, not only because we're Division II, but I think some of the top Division II schools have moved out of Division II. And last year's state champion Triway is down to Division III. Perennial Hebron Lakewood is down to Division III, down in the Columbus area. You have Keystone moved down to Division III. Poland's down to Division III. So I mean, it's almost, I don't want to say there's lesser competition, but some of those top players are out. This tournament always weeds itself out into top competition play in itself. But I don't want to say glad to see some of those top teams move out, but it's what it is. We got to prepare. We got to go get ready and make it happen in Division II. And you see on there, we are playing a lot of Division I teams and a lot of the top teams that will help us prepare for the Division II for sure. But it's a pretty good setup. I hear people talk about Division I, Division II. Honestly, it's a little bit night and day. I mean, that Division I is really stiff. Whether it's a girls basketball, whether it's softball, you go from 1 to 2. That's a pretty serious differentiation in a level of competition once you start getting through districts and regionals.
So when you're getting to know this team, obviously the personality of a team starts to shine through as you get to know them. How would you kind of describe the personality of this dugout and this roster that you have the ability to coach?
The personality, again, they're fun. They're fun, or they're coachable, but they're fun. And that almost scares me. These kids are making me laugh a little more than I want to this year. But it's a good group. They know when to get serious, put their game faces on, work hard, but they also, they're close knit, and maybe that's just something that I haven't been in a community public school system coaching, but the closeness of these players and the teammates, it's a special bond, and it's fun to be around, but they actually make it fun.
We know it's hard to get Coach Kernan to laugh, so it must be a special group of people. Coach,
yeah.
Before we get you out of here, obviously you have built a great staff at Canfield as well. I want you to take the time to introduce us to your staff and the people that you've put in place to help you out make this Canfield softball program so good.
Well, I really appreciate that. And, I like to brag about the kids. I like to brag about our support system and the boosters at Canfield. It's a little different way of doing business for me, but everybody's been tremendous. But I couldn't brag more than what we have from a staff standpoint. I mean, we have some great experience. We have some great coaching, and it's, not sure everyone appreciates or understands how important that can be. But with the talent we have, 1 through 28 on our roster, I mean, having quality people work with these young kids is very fortunate as a head coach. Our JV head coach, Kerry Durkin, he's been here for a few years. His daughter was a 4-year starting pitcher and had quite the success over the years. He's leading the younger kids program. We brought on board and assisted with him as Joe Mazurek, who's been around for a long time. His daughter has played. He's been coaching the young ladies for a long time, and he brings a lot of great experience as well. And then they picked up CJ Sapp as assistant on the JV, having that young female to relate to the players a little better than maybe a older man is always beneficial for the coaches. But CJ was a great player, Mooney too, in her day, so she knows how to play the game, and they have her on board. So that JV staff is tremendous. From my varsity standpoint, brought on a good friend of mine who's been coaching for 20 plus years, basketball and softball. He's been pretty successful everywhere he's been. Bernard Bola is on board with me again. He's been with me throughout the years, on and off here and there, different places. And real key asset, in addition to Coach Bola, would be my assistant coach, Barb Bellestrino. I got to throw the plugs in for her, the YSU Hall of Famer, the Ursuline Hall of Famer. She's been with me from day one at Ursuline High School, in my high school career. And for her to be on board with me, I think that's a tier, Coach. It's just special. So I'm real fortunate to have a tremendous staff at Canfield High School with me right now.
Well, Coach, we are so happy that you're back in the area and you're back coaching high school softball with us. We're happy that we get to talk to you a lot again. Thank you so much for the time today. Good luck this season. But before we do let you go, I do want to give one more thing. Shout out to your first game when Canfield fans can first come out and see you guys play in the regular season.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Real quick. So we're at Louisville High School, our first game on March 25th. And then we have Harding the first 2 days for the AAC on that Monday and Tuesday. But that weekend following, we're going to do the Joanne Kernan Strikeout Cancer at McCune Park on that Friday and Saturday. Great fundraiser. We like to distribute all those proceeds to people in need or organizations supporting cancer victims. So we have a lot of teams coming in for that tournament for the weekend at McCune Park. And a quick thank you to McCune Park for extending assistance to allow us to play there and run the tournament for that weekend. So our first weekend, we're looking for some good, fun, exciting games.
That has been one of the premier softball tournaments in the area for a long time. And I know we'll probably be down there. We'll probably have a couple of crews down there to do a handful of games. What a great cause. What a great tournament. A lot of good teams down there. And like you said, you open the season March 25th. So Canfield fans, it might be a busy day for you. You go, you watch the softball team in Louisville and then come back down into Youngstown. And you got a couple of great basketball players playing in our all-star game at YSU University at night. So what a great day. And, Coach, thanks again for joining us today. We'll hear from you soon. Good luck this season, buddy.
Look forward to being back, and thank you guys for having me, and thank you guys for everything you do for the community.
You got it. Thanks again.